Good morning, everybody. Excuse me. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it was another intense night last night with storms. I just got done uploading a short. Uh, Sorry. I know I'm trying to get myself straightened around here. Um, just to let y'all know, this is more of a personal blog, not really a professional thing or anything, so don't be expecting a whole lot. All right, everything's ad-lib, nothing scripted or anything like that. It's more of a video, I guess you could say vlog. I guess that's a proper term these days. But anywho, yeah, another round came in last night. Like I had said in yesterday's video, it was expected to come in. With looking at the radar before I left the house, it looked like it might pass by us to our south. Maybe a little bit of rain or something up in this area, but then I was getting a lot of uh, notifications on my phone. And I was like, okay. And between that and then something, basically a warning that this one lady had told me, had given me when I was dropping off her order. She's just like, oh, if you can go home now, it's getting intense, this and that, and I'm just like, oh, I'll be fine. And then she was like, well, if you see a tornado, go jump in a ditch, this and that, and everything. Now she's right, you got to get to the lowest point that you can get to when you come across these things. And of course, excuse me, it was dark, and I was seeing the clouds coming in throughout the evening and everything. And the video I did, I think I was on my way to drop off that particular order, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, and what I'll do is I'll post it. I'll do what I did with yesterday's posts up on the blog and post both of the videos in the same blog post. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I was on my way to drop off her order, and it was just so surreal. It reminded me, if you ever seen the second Star Trek movie. I'm talking about from the original cast. Okay, it was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and they wound up in inside of a nebula, and it just kind of reminded me of that a little bit, with how they wound up staging all of that. It was really, really, it was really cool. So I got video of that, but I did not get any video of the storm once it hit. And it was funny because after I dropped off that order, I was heading back in this direction because I was way north of here. Probably a good 20 minutes. 20, yeah, I'd say a good 20 minutes north of here is where I wound up. And I was heading south on State Highway 65. It's also called Central Avenue. Oh, I'll take those off, put them over there in case my little baby decides to jump up here and join her mommy. Hi, I see you. Yeah. But anyway, a little distracted. Sorry. First thing in the morning, just waking up basically. So anyway, and I was heading, like I said, I was heading south, and I got another request. Well, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it hit just as I was heading south, and then I got another request, which made me have to go back north a little bit. So I started heading back north, and it was just real bad, very similar to the night before. I'll say it wasn't as bad, but it was pretty severe still yet. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say not as bad because I didn't see any hail. We'll put it that way. Okay. but the winds were still pretty intense. And of course the downpours were pretty bad, and it made it difficult to be able to see. And of course, it's pitch black outside. I'm out in the middle of nowhere for the most part, so there's not any street lighting to be able to help see the road or anything. But yeah, fortunately, everybody slowed way down, and I made it to where I'm supposed to be picking up. Fortunately, it was inside a shopping center. So I pull up, instead of parking at a parking spot, I just pulled up there next to the curb, threw on my flashers. And I was facing the wrong direction, primarily because I wanted my door as close to the restaurant door as I could possibly get. So, but what I had done is initially I started off wearing my regular shoes, but then I had brought my hiking boots with me. At least I'd have something with me that was a little bit. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot. I had also brought my hoodie coat with me. It's basically I don't know what you'd call it, a sweat jacket or whatever. That has a zipper in the front with the hoodie on it, okay? And I always wear a hat anyway. I usually wear little piggy tails, and then, they're tied up down here, not up here, down here, okay? And have a hat on. So, but anyway, I was sitting there in front of the place, and I'm like, I'm going to switch my shoes here. So I was in the process of doing that, and at the same time, I sent my friends that I'm staying with right now, I sent them a text message letting them know, hey, the storm is coming, and it's nasty. So they were like, okay, thanks for the heads up, stay safe, all that sort of stuff. So I got things switched, or I was in the process of switching my shoes, and all of a sudden, the power went out. First it flickered, and then bam, went out. Fortunately, it didn't stay out for very long. I could see the person inside, just kind of using their flashlight phone, trying to see and so forth. But yeah, fortunately, it didn't stay out for very long. Of course, it came back on, and I got my shoes switched, my jacket on, and I took off into the restaurant. And that's when she had informed me that there was a issue with the order. So usually I don't contact the customer, but this time I went ahead and did. I don't know, it was just a feeling, and I'm glad that I did in the long run, which I'll explain here in a minute. So we got everything straightened around, collected the order, got back into my car. I told her she was a young girl in there that was working, and she was working alone. And I was just like, look, if the power goes out again, and if you don't feel comfortable, lock that door, okay? Don't, just do it. And she's just like, okay. So of course, I don't know if, when I drove by there a little bit later, power was still on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I didn't have any more issues. But anyway, I go to drop off, and I'm going even further north. And it was like, okay. So, and it was just, torrential downpour. Very high winds. I would say close to hurricane force. Possibly hurricane force, but it was kind of a little bit more borderline, and not like the night before, where it was definitely exceeding hurricane force winds. I mean, that borderline 75 mile per hour. It was closer to like 90 to 100 mile per hour. So anyway, last night I'd say it was probably somewhere around that 75 mark. And I used to live in hurricane country, so yeah, I lived there for actually 20 years. So yeah, I'm quite familiar with hurricane force winds and everything. So Anywho, um, I get it up there to where I'm supposed to turn off, and fortunately, I didn't have to do any more turns because I got just a little ways off from the turn off, and there's a tree in the road. I did get a picture of it. It doesn't look that terribly much. I did have to take the picture really fast because I wasn't going to step outside the car to take the picture. I quickly wiped had the windshield wipers, wiped the windshield, and had the camera set ready to go. Turned them on, turned them right back off. I did the one swipe and got the picture. But it did take down a power line. So it was a little ways up the road. I can't see where that power line had affected us. But then again, with surges or whatever, it's very possible. And I know it was a power line. It was not a phone line. Those look different. This was definitely a power line. So it's like, okay, interesting, fun. So basically what I did, there's no way I could cross. And I sit in a low car, renting a low car right now. And when I was sitting there, what I did was I contacted the customer. And the reason why I was happy I followed my instincts from earlier, because she immediately answered the phone. Yep. And I was just like, hey, do you have a car in your driveway by chance? She's just like, yeah. Yeah, it's sitting in the driveway. Is it possible that you can drive down here to meet me? There's a tree in the road. She's just like, I can hand the order to you, or what have you, but I'm not crossing this. And she's just like, okay, yeah, I'll send my boyfriend. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for them to come out. And it wasn't that much further up the road. But I mean, with the as bad as what it was raining and so forth, it was just like, yeah, no, I think it was like 400 feet according to the app. But I'm like, 400 feet is going to be a lot, especially with it being torrential downpours. I'm not walking in this. Forget it. It is not happening. And I really don't know where the house is, how much of a driveway they have or anything, because, we're out in the country now, and some of these country homes, they've got long driveways, and some of them are like a half a mile, So it's like, okay, the address might be showing, oh, it's just 400 feet, but the driveway is another half mile to the house. Ain't happening. So, anywho, yeah, while I was sitting there waiting, this guy in a pickup truck pulls up next to me. I was sitting there with my lights on and the flashers going, so that way anybody who possibly did come down would know that, okay, there's some sort of issue or what have you. So anyway, he pulls up next to me, rolls down his window, and he's just like, yeah, and he was in a pickup truck, and he's like, yeah, I'm not crossing this. It's like, no. Mm-mm. So the picture that I took, I did look at it last night. It doesn't look like much in the road, but that was the top of the tree, which was on my side of the road. On his side of the road, and it was just a two-lane road, one lane going one direction, one lane going the other direction. But it was a little bit more bigger, a little bit bigger on the opposite side of the road. But yeah, he's just like, yeah, I'm not crossing this. I'm going around. And then somebody else also had pulled up after him. And by that point, I had already gotten the order to her boyfriend, who also was driving. Actually, he was driving a utility truck, and it was, and the person couldn't figure out, okay, you need to turn around. I can't get out of here until you get out of here because they were pulled up almost right next to me. It was like, oh my goodness. Uh, but eventually, I'm like, all right, they obviously are not going to move. So I start trying to do a 3-point turn, excuse me, to get out of there. Mm. And then that's when they finally got the message, get out, move. Oh, yeah. Hello. Find another way if there is one. It's your neighborhood, not mine. I have no idea. So, but I did look on the radar when everything hit and so forth, and and saw the progression. It looked like it was only going to be lasting for about an hour or so. But it did make for a little bit of an intense night. It came across some pretty big tree limbs that had broken off in various places. A lot of debris, a trash can. I guess it was supposed to be trash day for this one in one neighborhood today, because so everybody had their trash cans out, so that was made things a little bit interesting. Yeah. I didn't stay out for very long. I met basically my minimum goal. So yeah, tonight I'm gonna have to bust my ass a little bit more to make sure that I have everything I need for the car payment for tomorrow and also gas to put in the car. But yeah, it did, like I said, it did make for a bit of an intense night last night. Um, and I thought, well, I didn't really feel like eating what I had to eat at home, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just go run, get off the freeway a little bit further out the road, and run over and get something else to eat. I get off at the exit, things just weren't looking right. I'm just like, something's not right here. But, I was also very tired at this point, 2 nights in a row dealing with all this stuff. I was just like, you know, so of course my head isn't thinking very clearly or anything. But I was just like, yeah, something's just not right here. And I make that left, and that's when I realized what was wrong. It was pitch black. Yeah, where I was supposed to turn, the the traffic light was out, and the whole complex, that whole shopping complex was pitch black. So it was like, okay, I guess I'm not having tacos. I just decided, screw it, came home, and I just did a bowl of ice cream and had that. That was my dinner. A bowl of ice cream. I mean, my sugar, for those of you who don't know, I am a type 1 diabetic. Um, and my sugar was running a little bit high. I did have the rest of my tortilla chips that I had in the car with me. I did eat those a little bit earlier, finished off that bag. So my sugar was a little bit high, and I basically just needed to eat something to help elevate my blood sugar for when I took my nighttime insulin. Because if I don't have it a little bit higher, I'll wind up bottoming out overnight, and then I got to get up and take care of low sugar, which I didn't want to have to do. So, I just went ahead and had that bowl of ice cream, up to my sugar, and I was good to go. I woke up beautiful sugar this morning, 107. So, right spot on. So, yeah, or right within that range that they like to see you at anyway. So, and I really wasn't all that terribly hungry, especially after finishing off that bag of chips. I really wasn't all that terribly hungry, so. But anywho, yeah, like I said, a little bit of intense night again last night. Um, but yeah, and I'll post that picture too on the same blog post as well. So, yeah, lots of fun. As far as Little Miss is concerned, for those of you who are wondering how she's been doing with the new round of pancreatitis, she's doing better. She's just still acting weird, so it might take her a little bit to work through everything. But yeah, she's still, but she's definitely doing a lot better. It's just going to take her probably a little bit of time to get straightened back around fully and so forth. But our anniversary is coming up here in a couple of days. It'll be 7 years since we first met. Since I first found her living on the streets. She was just a little baby at the time. She was only about 6 weeks old at that time. And now she is 7 years old. So, and we're coming up on our anniversary here soon. So, yeah, she's just she's been acting a bit lethargic. Acting very weird, having strange places where she's sleeping. It's just not like her. So I'm still concerned about her. Keeping my eye on her and everything. But she's been a little bit active, and but not like normal. So yeah, like I said, I'm still keeping my eye on her. So still send those positive thoughts, all that positive energy her way. Okay, I'd really appreciate it, guys. As far as Mom is concerned, Mom's doing good. And, yeah. Starting to, working towards, moving towards directions that, of course I want to be going and everything. Excuse me. But, I know. Throat this morning's a little funky. Understandable. Temperatures definitely dropped last night too. Good 20 degrees. I think we were like upper 80s or something like that when it came, and it dropped down into the mid upper 60s. I think by the time I got home it was like 67. So yeah, and that was at, I want to say sometime between 1:30 and 2 o'clock this morning, something like that. I got a little bit of a late start yesterday. And unfortunately, my first run that I did kind of screwed me up as far as my book is concerned. Yeah, unfortunately, it was a low dollar amount, but it was technically, well, according to the GPSs, we're talking at least 2 GPSs put this address in. It was saying it was at one place, but come to find out, no, it was actually a good 15 minutes away from that address. So by the time everything was said and done, we're talking a 30-minute drive. So by rights, I should have gotten paid a hell of a lot more. I think I might reach out to Uber. I'm going to double check to see how much I got paid, because I know how much I was supposed to get paid from the get-go, but I'm going to double check to see how much I actually got paid, and if it was still the same amount, I'm going to reach out to Uber and see if they can do a recalculation. So, anywho, yeah, and maybe get compensated a little bit more. But anyway, I've got things to do, place to go, people to see, get out earlier tonight, so I can make that dollar amount that I really have to make. So, anywho, I will talk to you later. Love you guys. Stay safe and stay dry. Best you can. If you don't understand that joke, go watch the previous video, yesterday's video. All right. Love you guys. Talk to y'all soon. Love you.